Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Would you work on Christmas Eve until really late in the evening?
Would you miss a family get-together for work?
And would you take the life of someone who groped you while drunk?
All this and more on Gory Storytime.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig. And this week we're going to be doing the Christmas horror / thriller, I would say, but still got horror in there.
Yeah.
P2. It's Christmas the way Die Hard is Christmas, which means it's legitimately Christmas, but it's not focused on Christmas. Does that make sense?
Yes, except it focuses way more on Christmas than you're saying it does. I mean, the entire reason he does it is because of a Christmas thing. Okay. He's like, hey, have Christmas dinner with me.
That's not why he did it. He's been stalking.
Whatever.
We'll get into this. You obviously weren't watching the movie.
Yes, Mr. You were on your phone.
Oh my word. Really? You're
yeah,
to talk.
I am allowed to now.
Anyway, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, basically.
Basically, the premise is there's a woman. She's a super hard worker. She's, a workaholic is what she is.
Oh, yeah.
Who is working on Christmas Eve late because she just wants to keep working. She has a family get-together to get to, and she's the last one out of the building, or should be, except she can't get out of the building because, well,
Mr. Stalker guy. Someone
locked her in. She goes to get help from security, and security's not much help.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much the basic premise.
Yeah,
and it's her trying to escape someone that had locked her in on parking level 2, which is why it's called P2.
Indeed.
So why don't we throw it to the trailer so you can see what the hell we're talking about.
Hi, Mom. You're not going to believe what happened.
Angela, are you calling me from work?
Believe me, I can't wait to get out of here and see you guys.
Please don't be any later.
I promise, I won't. What am I gonna do? No. Still in here, wait! Hello?
Angela, are you okay? I didn't mean to scare you.
What happened to my clothes?
Yeah.
What do you want?
I've seen you drive out of here so many times. It's strange being with you. It's great, actually.
If anyone can hear me, someone's trying to kill me. Merry Christmas.
Well, all right.
Look at that.
Didn't really spoil too much. You know,
I mean, it did say who the dude was.
I mean,
but like,
except for you, apparently, it was meant to be known that the security guard was the crazy guy.
For like the first half hour.
No, it was like the first 10 minutes. Like, it didn't take long. As soon as you meet him, it's like, he's creepy. But anyway, spoiler alert. Based on the trailer you just saw, it's not really a spoiler. All you have to do is pay attention.
Wow. I didn't watch the trailer before I watched the movie.
No, but you heard the description I gave.
Yeah, which was lady gets stuck.
That's not what...
Basically.
Anyway. And I realized while the trailer was playing, I never answered those questions from before the credits started on this show. So I'll just... Now it's going to take someone with any sort of actual give a crap to want to go back and match them up. But if you do, it's the answers to those questions are no, no, and no, but I get it. The third one's no for me because it's been so long I'd probably respect that it happened. Anyway, match those up.
Yeah, definitely match those up because if you get those in the wrong order,
Yeah.
that gets weirder and weirder.
It does. Now, before we get into the behind-the-scenes information about this movie,
Or the meat and beef.
as you like to call it, yes, because, one mistake
I'm a
becomes a
dumbass.
thing. No, hey, I
yeah.
get it. I mean, that's how a
It
lot of things happen. Yeah, you were
One
an
mistake
accident.
and then...
Yeah, well, anyway. What we're really here for, in the guise of reviewing a horror movie, is to make big piles of
Fat
cash.
stacks of cash.
And the way we do that every week is we...
Pimp our bodies out.
First of all, that's what you do, that's not bodies. We pimp ourselves out for our opinions on products. Products that actually exist and you can find and purchase.
Yes. All real things.
Ignore
Totally real
this.
things that this has nothing to do with.
And then this week, Brink's truck full of cash backed up so that we would promote, let's see, this week, Gory Storytime is brought to you by the Stalker App. Stalkr, no E. Kind of like, Tinder and that one that you use.
Oh. I do not use Kinder.
The app for finding the perfect woman to obsess over. Answer just a few questions and we'll match you with a lady who best fits you and your needs. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about the obsessive women? We got you covered with our sister app, Miss Stalker.
Miss Stalker.
So download today and start following your dreams. And by dreams, we mean, well, you get it. That's Stalker, spelled with no E.
Yes.
And by...
Creeps with a Z. The collectible action figures based on real-life psychos. From Ted Bundy to Jeffrey Dahmer, from John Wayne Gacy to Ed Gein. We have all of your favorites. We also have full playsets available, like the Dahmer Walk-In Freezer or the Manson Family Ranch. So get yours today. Creeps, available where really messed up collectibles are sold. So, keen.
Anyway, all right. Let's get into the behind-the-scenes information.
Absolutely, let's do that.
Let me grab mine.
Cutting right into the meat and the beef.
Yes. All right. According to an interview given to the New York Times in 2010, this movie was made during the middle of Wes Bentley's decade-long serious addiction to cocaine and heroin. He said that in an interview, he only accepted any movie roles during that time so he would have enough money to buy his drugs.
Oh. There were 14 white dresses. Each one was in various stages of dirtiness and decay.
This film was shot in 2 months, exclusively at night, at a real working Toronto parking garage.
3 different dogs were used to portray the Rottweiler.
It was weird that one of them was a Shih Tzu, but no.
That would have been counterproductive.
It would have. In Spanish, phonetically, the title P2 sounds exactly like P2, which means farts.
Yes.
Spain distributors opted for the more generic Parking 2. Yeah.
Shares basically the same plot as the low-budget, direct-to-video film Lower Level from 91.
The character Angela is stated to be from Maine, which is also where Rachel Nichols, the actress playing her, is from.
Miranda Edwards and Bathsheba Garnett were both in Mean Girls.
Angela's BMW had an outdated New York state license plate. The red, white, and blue with the Statue of Liberty graphic was phased out in 2000. All of the other cars in the film are correct and current. Many of the cars shown in the film were 2005 or later models, and the film was set in at least 2005, so there's no way her car would still be using that style of plate.
Near the beginning, Angela comes around a corner and bumps into one of the security guards and calls him by his real name, the actor's real name, rather than his character name, but calls him by his character name later at the desk when she's waiting for the cab.
When Thomas bends down to remove the cuffs from Angela's ankles, she's wearing shoes. After she stabs him and he's sitting astride her, the shoes are lying next to her. But after he gets up and asks, "Why did you do that?" they're miraculously back on her feet.
I mean, she kept taking him on and off. So,
Not as she's trying to escape from having stabbed him. No.
The blood spatter on Angela's face constantly changes throughout the movie.
When Angela's fighting off and killing the dog in the car, the rear passenger seatbelt is directly behind her back, completely shielded from the blood splatter, except perhaps the top few inches. After the dog is killed and she steps out of the car, the belt is visible and it's covered in large soaked blood spatter spots all the way down where her body would have shielded the blood spatter.
In the scene where Angela is in the security office and Tom gives her a plate, he puts cranberry on her plate. When Angela tells him about her boyfriend, there isn't cranberry on her plate anymore. She ate it.
Sure, that's what she was doing. When Tom was about to beat the guy in the parking lot, he rolls up his left sleeve. Twice.
Yep. When Angela is first put in the car to go for a ride, as Thomas puts it, you can clearly see her hands fidgeting in front of her, but the shot before that has Thomas handcuffing her hands behind her back. Okay, that's not a mistake. It showed her move her arms under her body so that she could put them in front of her. So,
except they were in front. Whatever. In the scene where Angela's in the elevator, the blood on her finger changes constantly.
When Tom tries to break the window glass, the arrangement of chairs change during his attempts.
When Angela stabs Tom in the eye, he closes his eye. Then we see his fully opened eye with the eyeball nearly out of the socket. After he pulls the metal out, he closes it again without like a dangling ball.
All right. When Tom first enters the car rental shop looking for Angela after a shot of his stun gun, the camera goes to a shot of Tom as he walks across the lobby of the shop. You can clearly see the shadowy reflection of a crew member in the window behind Tom moving around.
In the beginning, when she's trying to use her cell phone, it says TELUS. TELUS is a Canadian cell phone company that does not provide New York service to New York City. Technically, she could be roaming, but this seems highly unlikely.
The parking lot stand post would not read P2, but rather the exact parking spot on that level.
That's a good point. When Angela tries to access the elevator lobby, she does so by turning the knob. All such parking level lobbies are accessed by a key card. This is later evidenced when the security guard uses his card key to provide her access.
All right. One would not use a keyboard to communicate with someone near an interphone system or the entrance to the garage.
And here's a nitpicky one. Tamala says to Angela, "Bon appetit," pronouncing it with a T. It's supposed to be pronounced appetit. That's a common mispronunciation by U.S. Americans. Well, considering they were in the United States, the way that they would pronounce it is the way that they would hear it in America.
And the last one I've got here is accompanying the closing credits are a few stills from the film presented as if the movie had been a comedy.
Which is funny because it was creepy. Then we always give you the Rotten Tomatoes score. Now, for those who don't know, and I go over this every week, so if you've heard this before, just bear with me.
Basically, you have no option.
Basically, they take all the professionally reviewed reviews and add them all together, positive reviews and negative reviews, and just tell you the percentage of reviews that are positive. So if it says 70% on a movie, it doesn't mean that it's a 70 out of 100,
No.
like being scored on a test. It means 70% of
people who
people
reviewed
reviewing it gave
liked
it a positive review. This one didn't hit that.
No, it did not. The critics, that's the one I read, right, have it at 35%, and at a wildly different number.
Yeah, the people also get to vote, and again, it's just positive or negative, and 36% give it a
Massively
positive.
different, right?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yikes, yikes, yikes. So, I guess it's time to talk about our favorite and least favorite thing.
and then rate it, yeah. So,
My least favorite thing, I want to go there first,
all right.
is something that was in one of the things that we didn't read. If you call 911 and hang up, they call back. If you don't respond when they call
They
back,
send a car.
they send someone. That didn't happen in this movie. They just accepted the hang up. That is not 911's policy.
The only issue with that being a mistake in the movie is it
When
just
the
because
cops
it
showed
doesn't
up, that's
show.
not why they... No.
Yes, it said that there had been a
It's-
call.
No. Someone else heard a commotion and called it in, which doesn't make sense either because of the
Old bat that
the
was
old lady
outside,
that
yeah.
was homeless or whatever screaming.
Help! Someone's raping me.
Even
when
though she was
just
by herself,
walking in
right.
the middle of the road by herself. Right.
So if no one responded to that, the noise inside a locked up parking garage doesn't seem
Probably
like it would
not,
attract. Right. So I guess combining those, I'll say my problem was all the things that just don't add up. There's a lot of things
there's a
that
lot
don't.
that doesn't add up
And
in
it
this.
really hurt the movie for me. I think it would have been a lot
that.
better without those things,
get that.
obviously.
My least favorite thing is there's a scene where the bad guy of the movie has tied up a creep that's like a perv on most of the girls in the building. And his plan is to beat the ever-living hell out of this guy and then kill him.
Correct.
And I think that is a good thing because this perv should die. And I don't like Tom because he's the bad guy. And don't make bad guys do good things because then I like them, and don't do that.
All right. So you think someone going, "Hey, come here, give me a kiss," is worthy of being murdered?
I think the pushing himself onto people and groping them in the elevator countless times is...
I think it's something he should be punished for, but you think that's a death sentence?
I mean, obviously it was, and I liked it.
He didn't make it under the clothes. He didn't. And when she pushed him away, he didn't do it again, and he immediately was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I did that." Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no excuse.
No, it's not an excuse for what he did. What I'm saying is I don't think it reaches the level of deserving to die.
See, that's where you and I are different. See, my view of the world of black and white goes as strict as that, and yours apparently doesn't.
But there are things that you want to do that would mean you deserve to die then.
No,
Not the same things, but oh yes.
I don't think so.
Anyway, my favorite scene, let me think, because we got to do that one too.
Yeah, we do.
Honestly, it was a super disturbing shot of her fingernail. When she was trying, she dropped her phone and she was trying to grab it, and her fingernail got like bent back and ripped off of her finger. And I'll tell you, it was very realistic looking. It wasn't a long shot of it. It was just, but you see it pop up, and
then she rips it off.
And then I had you rewind it because I'm like, oh my God, let me see that again, because it was disturbing. It hurt, like, you know, the thing where it hurts
Kind
your
of like
teeth to
when
watch?
Judd got his ankle sliced.
Yeah, like there's some things where you just go, ugh. Or when there's something about Mary was on last night and the guy zipped up himself. Like, right, you flinch.
Right.
But it's funny in the movie, but you still flinch and groan because, of course you do.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Beans.
So my favorite thing is super disturbing, and I hated seeing it and made you play it again.
So that you could see it a second time. Yes, I remember this. I'm going to go with very similarly, but just broad in the special effects. For as cheap as this movie seems to have been, were on point.
I think it helped that they seemed to not be digital. They seemed
weren't
to be
digital.
practical.
It was a lot of practical.
Yeah,
and they had the dark helping them.
Yeah, true.
Because like I have a feeling if it was in a light scene, that dog
that
wouldn't have
definitely
exploded
covers a lot
like
of sins when it comes to that type of thing. It really does.
But like I think that the special effects in this movie are way better than they deserve to be, because the story is generic.
Yeah.
All of the beats are generic.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying too. Like, it was a fairly generic film as far as
generic in a vein of really good thing.
Yeah.
Like I love these movies, but I've seen 100 of them.
Yeah, I mean there was no twist that surprised us. I mean, it was pretty much cookie cutter was the words I was using when we were watching it. But that all being said, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you rate it?
Much more than they gave it. I'm gonna give it a 7.
See, I can see why you would say that, but I'm gonna go like 5.5. And the reason I'm going so low is as I'm watching it, I'm seeing all these inconsistencies that don't make sense. And because it's such a realistic thing, it doesn't take much to make it realistic, and they failed.
On some things, yeah.
Well, there was enough things where I'm like, come on. Like,
special effects were realistic.
The cops don't come for something that they would definitely come for, but they came
some of the
for something they definitely
dialogue wasn't realistic.
Have.
It's like, okay, real people don't say those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I think that they, with a few tweaks, this movie, this would be a good one for Alex to
recut so it's better.
Yeah, because he could cut out a couple of the things that make it inconsistent, and he could tighten things up where it needs to be and remove some of that dialogue.
Because
and it
if you've seen our 200th episode, you know just how great he is at doing that.
I mean, I think I would probably give it a 7.5 or an 8 if you took out those glaring things.
Yeah,
like
reorder some of the
maybe cut it out where she drops the phone before calling 911, so that there is no mistake that hanging up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. And then she called the cops like a second time, and then they never showed up that time.
But when they did show up, it was for a BS reason that wouldn't have worked.
And then, like at the end, the fire department shows up because
again, it just wasn't correct. And
like there was no reason for them to know about the fire.
But I would give it a full 2 more points.
Yeah, I get
and
it.
Go 7.5, maybe even 8, 2 to 2.5 more points, just if you edited out those things. So I think that's actually something we should talk to him. Maybe. I mean, hey.
Yeah. So I'm at a 7. I'm gonna stay right at my 7 because it's like, it's a paint by numbers. It's a cookie cutter. It's everything that you expect it to be. But I like it because
those
it's like
other things took a lot of the suspense away from me, though.
You take a badass chick and you make her like fight against some creep, and I'm like, okay, I'm cool with this. Yeah, I'm gonna like that.
Oh yeah, and again, if I hadn't seen so many movies with a not exact plot but similar story, it's just
like.
But anyway, all right.
ATM.
Now it's time to talk about the stuff over on that side of the screen.
Dang right. Boom.
And there we go.
All right, you can watch this show on Fact TV channel 1076, Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
You can like us on the Facebook, and by us, I mean Gory Storytime has a page, and you can always like Fact TV, and they usually live stream the show, and if they're doing that, hey, anyone that's watching.
Yeah, and if you're not hearing us, how'd you hear us?
And if you're hearing us later, hey, too, because,
Hey, too, because P2.
Anyway.
All right. You can go to factdate.com and watch a bunch of the back episodes of this show. You can watch a bunch of the other shows that they do and whatnot, because they've got a lot of stuff on this channel.
You can always follow us both on the Twitter. I am at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase.
I'm at Jiggly Fern Brain. I just tweet the funny things that this guy says. In or out of context, I just
usually
tweet them.
Out, but still.
Usually out. Something to make him sound like he isn't the thing that he is.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, sure. And also, check out on YouTube, if you type in Gory Storytime, you will come up with 2 separate pages that have episodes. You got my page, And you got Fact TV's page. And why don't you give both a like and a subscribe?
A subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of this. Whatever, yeah.
Ding. We'll start reacting to... No, just kidding, because that's not our
we'll
thing.
start reacting to your comments.
No, we'll react to our episodes. That's not a good idea. That's
a great idea.
It's kind of like doing commentary.
25-minute thing.
Yeah, no. Anyway, that's about it.
So we won't do that, and we'll be back next week with the last of our Christmas movies this year.
Yep.
I've been Jason, your host.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig.
And sweet dreams.